Quest Audiobooks presents an unabridged recording of Game of Trust by Yvonne Vincent, narrated by Angela Ness. Prologue. A single shaft of moonlight penetrated the gloom of the ground-floor gallery. The eyes of the long-dead ancestors on the walls seemed to follow the cloaked figure as it slipped stealthily across the polished floorboards towards the end of the long room that had once been the castle ballroom. A century ago, the space would have been filled with finely attired revellers. According to the guidebook, the best of the local boroughs and Scottish aristocracy had descended on the castle to meet King George and Queen Mary. The visit was a private one, King and Laird having been friends since their days together in the Royal Navy. But like his grandmother before him, the first monarch of the newly created House of Windsor could not resist flashing a well-turned ankle to the rousing tune of the bagpipes. That night, this long room would have been a sea of red faces, flushed from a few too many whiskies. The castle would have been filled with noise and laughter, and a dervish of flying tartan whirling through the dashing white sergeant or the eightsome reel. Those heady days were long gone. The pipes were silent, and the servants were now staff, employed to look after the curious tourists who thronged to Vik's shores between May and October. Instead of the boat, with its gracious first-class cabin for the ladies and gentlemen, and its cattle class for the hoi polloi, today's explorers to this rugged rock in the North Sea travelled cheek to jowl on Captain Rab's ferry, where they were huddled indoors to protect their pre-packed tuna sandwiches from the rapacious gulls overhead. Visitors no longer arrived at the castle in shuddering charabancs and grand horse-drawn carriages. One either took the path through the fields or risked life and limb on the number 1 bus. There was no number 2, the single-decker driven by Angry Eddie in an endless loop around the island being considered sufficient. He'd once tied some chairs to the roof in an attempt to make it like one of those open-top tourist buses. But Mrs. Miller had fallen off the step-ladder on the way up, and he'd had to give her a refund, as well as drop her off at the hospital to get her tibia set. It was all very inconvenient, and he had made everyone late. Of course, the figure now creeping towards the end of the room knew little of this.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?